funky.
Hey everyone, and welcome to One Day Projects, a series name I thought of about 5 minutes ago, give or take. I don't know, I think it could be a fun little thing I do occasionally where I just, run through a quick little project in a day or two and we'll see how they turn out. Recently, I watched this video by Sebastian Lagu, I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But in this video, he did, well, as the title and thumbnail says, ant and slime simulations. And the actual concept behind it was kind of cool, but the visuals it created was something else. This is an example of one of the visuals he made, and I think it looks awesome, and I kind of wanted to do something like that, but probably not quite as good. And I'll tell you what, I've already done it and it doesn't turn out quite as cool. But it still turns out pretty cool and it returns some interesting results. I definitely think I could build on it in the future as well to make stuff even cooler, but I mean, it looks pretty cool anyway. I'm not going to show you yet, obviously, because you got to watch the rest of the video. So if you want to watch Sebastian's video, it'll be down in the description. But anyway, let's get on to my project. So the main goal of my project was just to do something cool visually. I've never really tried doing anything like that before, except for maybe a little bit of messing around in HTML and JavaScript and stuff, obviously. You can't just have HTML. But yeah, with like JavaScript and HTML to try and create some form of like game type thing, and I just created some weird simulation that created a couple cool patterns. And so I figured, why not try and recreate that in Unity? I have an idea in my head for how it could work, and it seems pretty simple. And plus, Unity is what I know. I know how to use Unity decently well, I like to think anyway. So I should be a lot more free to experiment with the ways I do things and experiment with the different results I could get, essentially. So I started off by creating a new project which had a few issues straight up for some reason. And I set up a basic couple scripts, one that can control everything and one that only... Jesus Christ. One that only controls individual pixels. Waving my arms around is so hard with this stupid mic. Oh, and the main script also controls how big the pixels are. This will be important for later. Also, the tick speed is just how fast they go along, so kind of like the frame rate essentially. But from there, the basic systems were in place and I can start making the pixel do anything really. So I started off by just making it bounce off the walls. Yeah, really simple, I know. There's no fancy momentum or gravity physics in this. It's literally just bouncing off the walls. It never goes into the corner, unfortunately, for all you DVD enthusiasts. So let's be honest, this doesn't look very cool. I mean, it's just a little square bouncing off the walls. So I added a couple things to the script and now it has a trail. Woo! This looks way cooler at a faster tick speed as well. So yeah, there's that. But one little dart, as I'm gonna call it, it wasn't very exciting, was it? It's just kind of boom. I wanted to try something a little more. So I wanted to create more versions of that original object, maybe whenever it bounces off the walls, but every time I tried to do something like that, it would brick my game. Then I tried doing something that I thought would be a little bit more lightweight on the system, still crashed. And this was kind of the moment I realized the system I created was really kind of inefficient. So I got rid of a few features like the variable tick speed. I decided to get rid of that whole system. And basically the reason behind that is because each pixel was constantly checking with an if statement whether the next tick was going to happen. So I decided to just replace it with a fixed update which only updates a certain amount every second, which is a pretty reasonable tick speed anyway. And with a couple more crashes and unfortunately my scene restarted. Well, it didn't actually restart, I just had to go to the sample scene, but I didn't know that at the time, so I just reconstructed the scene. It only took a few minutes, so yeah, not too big of a loss. I also messed with the script that actually creates the darts to try and make it a little bit more efficient. Still, yeah, nah. It crashed very, very quickly, but I pretty quickly actually realized the issue, and that was that every time one of them collided with an edge, it would spawn another one. Which, that's alright, that works, it spawns another one, but the issue is when both of those collide now, it spawns two because each of them are spawning one. And this essentially means that the graph of the amount of pixels in the scene doesn't look like this, it looks a little bit more like this, which is not quite the best, is it? So I decided to fix that pretty simply by each dart can only spawn one other dart, and then, that new dart can spawn one, and then it can't spawn anymore, and etc, etc. It does keep going on infinitely, but it's significantly slower than every single one spawning one at the same time, So that worked pretty well, but there's one other slight issue. It doesn't really look very cool. So I decided to add the random factor. That's right, I added randomization to it, and at first it looked like this, which wasn't very interesting, but after a bit, I managed to get this. This was kind of cool, but it was very chaotic and not really, you couldn't really tell what's going on. It was just a bunch of white pixels appearing and disappearing. But hey, it's a step in the right direction. It looks significantly cooler than whatever the hell this was. So then I toned down the randomness a lot, and it's actually looking pretty decent. But then I decided it probably needed a little bit more color, so I decided to revamp the color system. We had it in the thing already, and this was the result. It's kind of like a fiery looking trail, which I think is actually really cool. And after sorting out some of the layering issues, I realized that changing the interval, which, changes the size of the blocks that it spawns, actually looks really cool. So then I decided to automate that in the script, and I got some variations of results, but I eventually came to this, which I thought looked pretty cool. So then I made the spawning location random, and it was alright, but I had a bit of a better idea. I wanted the new darts to spawn inside of the existing darts. Now I tried this before, totally bricked my game, so hopefully I can work out how to do it a little bit better. And by better, I mean with random direction, because we didn't really have that last time, and after actually fixing it, because it turns out the direction wasn't random, it would always go up to the top right, I got this result, which I think actually looked a lot cooler without the pulsing interval, to be honest. It looked kind of 3D, and the way I did the layering actually worked out really well for this. Essentially how it works is the top pixels that, create the other ones, the head of the dart, if you will, is always on a very high order layer, whereas the pixels themselves, the colored ones, they decrease in order layer the older they are. So essentially new pixels that are created always go over the pre-existing ones. But yeah, anyway, this is actually something I'm really happy with as a result. It only took like an hour and a half or so. I decided to speed it up a little bit, which gave a little bit of a more pixelated look, but it covered more of the screen, which I think looked a lot cooler. Then I added a slight wiggle, and that kind of made it look a little bit weird, but also kind of cool. It ruined the little 3D effect we had going a little bit, but I think it still looked pretty cool. And at this stage, I was almost 2 hours into development. Yeah, I know I said a few seconds ago that we were an hour and a half into it, but yeah, that was half an hour sucked into just experimenting around with stuff. Messing around with this thing is pretty fun, but I'm not going to release it because I don't have any proper UI for it. You'd have to load it up in Unity, and even then it's dodgy as hell and doesn't really work very well. But anyway, from there I think that's basically it for the project. Yeah, that's everything I've got done today, really. It is small, but it's only one day. Give me a little bit of leeway here. Maybe in the future I'll expand on this and try and make something that looks even comparable to what Sebastian did in his video, but I think we'll have to see on that one. Anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider leaving a like and maybe subscribing if you enjoyed it that much. I've been doing devlogs on this video as well. As of this video, I've only got one out, but hopefully more will be coming in the future. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.